What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Edgar. Yeah, as the name suggests, today we're talking about delusion, and we're talking about it in a positive light because delusion is in fact a superpower. Let me explain. It's no secret that top performers in their field have an unwavering belief in themselves. LeBron James doesn't just think he's the best player in the NBA, he believes that he is.
I feel confident because I'm the best player in the world.
But so did Kobe Bryant.
What do you reckon? Fine. I'm the best. Michael's second best.
And so did Michael Jordan.
I'm the best player in the world.
Another example. How many rappers have you heard call themselves the best rapper alive in one of their songs?
I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. Best rapper alive. Hear that line used less often. I am the best rapper alive.
Still not convinced? Let's jump over to soccer where you hear Zlatan Ibrahimovic call himself the best player to ever play in the MLS.
I think I'm the best ever played in MLS. And that without joking.
And if we're being honest with ourselves, any one of those people can hold an argument as to why they think they're the best. I mean, they're highly accomplished in what they do, and they have a huge following who also believe that they're the best. But here's the thing. None of these people gained that confidence after they achieved success. They believed they were the best, or that they could be the best, long before they ever made it. I'm sure many people who knew them before the fame called them delusional, and they were probably right, but you know what? It was a good thing. Think about it like this. How can you ever become the best at something or just achieve great success without first believing that you can do so? How can you become the best version of yourself without first believing that you can get there? All visions of greatness must start with delusion. There's just no way around it. But it's this delusion that allows you to perform at the level where you go from simply being delusional to achieving everything you ever wanted. So in this video, I want to give you a few tips that will help you have such a strong belief in yourself that other people will call you delusional, because you will be. And that's a good thing. Also, yeah, I do think it's kind of funny that I'm making a whole video on how to be delusional, but you at least got to give me points for creativity, so comment down below if you agree. Anyway, the first tip to help you obtain delusional self-belief is going to be to use a system called the 3 alarms. This system is something that I learned after reading the book The 3 Alarms by Eric Partaker, who's an entrepreneur and a coach for CEOs, and it works like this. Throughout our days, lots of things happen, right? I mean, there's a lot of inputs, there's a lot of distractions, and sometimes there's a lot of self-doubts. And it's on these days where it's most difficult to believe in yourself and enter that delusional state where you do your best work. And that's where the 3 alarms can help you out. So in his book, Eric suggests that you actually take out your phone and you set 3 alarms that will separate your day out into blocks. This can be an alarm before work, an alarm after work, and an alarm near the end of the day. Then once you have your time sets, you can take each alarm and label it with world's best, whatever, depending on what you want your focus to be on at that time and what mindset you want to put yourself into. For example, mine may look like this. 7 a.m., world's best employee, because I still have a day job and I want to do a good job at my job. 3:30 p.m., world's best YouTuber, because, I work on YouTube when I get off work, so I want to be in that mindset at that time. And then around 7 p.m., world's best husband, because that's when I spend time with my wife and we just kind of decompress from the day and just hang out. Now, am I really any of these things? Probably not by a long shot. But that's not the point. What we're doing here is we're putting ourselves into the mindset where we ask ourselves, okay, if I was the best in the world at this, if I was the best husband or the best YouTuber in the world, what actions would I be taking in this very moment? And once we know that, we can act accordingly. What's great about the 3 alarms is that not only does it prepare us to be in the right mindset for whatever we want to do, but it also serves as a constant reminder of what we aspire to be. Because even if it's not true, you have to believe that you are the best in order to become the best. You gotta be delusional. The way you speak to yourself will turn into the way you see yourself. And the way you see yourself will turn into the way that you behave. Ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius said, "The man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't are both correct." So the more you remind yourself and see yourself as the best at what you're trying to accomplish, the more likely you are to get there. Which sort of leads me into my next tip, which is going to be to treat life like a game. This one can be best explained with a quick story. So, I've recently been playing the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring, and if you're not familiar with that game, it's a game that was so difficult that players all over the world were complaining to the developers that it needed to be made easier, which it never really was. Anyway, I was playing this recently just exploring when, as it happens, I accidentally stumbled right into a boss fight. When you enter boss fights in the game, you can't leave, so at this point I had no choice but to try my luck, so I rushed in to see what I could do, and I was killed in 2 hits. Now obviously this isn't a good sign, you're probably thinking that I walked away, but instead, I looked over at my wife who was sitting right next to me and I simply said, "I can take him." And that's what I mean when I say to treat life like a game. That interaction gave me no signs whatsoever that I could beat that boss, but some delusional belief within me told me that it wouldn't be too hard. And once I went back in, it really wasn't. It took me only like 3 or 4 tries. Plus, even if it had taken me way longer, it's a video game, so there are no permanent consequences. I can just go back in and keep trying as many times as it took. Which is funny because somewhere around that same time I'd been talking to my friend Marco, who was also playing the game, and he was already at the final boss, but he was struggling. So I hadn't been there and I was like, man, that sounds tough. And his response was something along the lines of, "That's alright, he can beat me as many times as he wants." I only need to beat him once. And even though we were talking about a video game, my mind immediately paralleled that to life, because one thing that we often fail to realize is that life is the same way. Sure, if something that we're trying to do goes wrong, or if it fails, then it's going to have consequences in the real world, but oftentimes they're not even that serious or permanent even. We just get so caught up in the fact that we're not succeeding from the get-go, or that we look foolish, that we'd rather quit instead of actually seeing if we can succeed or not. And the worst part is that half the time, it's just nerves or embarrassment that are holding us back from doing some really cool shit. And so that's kind of the third tip. I just want you to realize that most of your fears have no real or serious consequences, even though they are in the real world. When it comes to your goals or the things that you want in life, you should treat it like a game with infinite respawns. Unless, of course, it's actually life-threatening. But this is what will give you that delusional sense of confidence, because you'll come to realize that there are no real consequences. If there's something you want, go after it. If you fail, try a different approach. If you fail again, step back, learn something new that might help, and then get back into it. And if you're worried about people judging you, who really gives a shit? I mean, their opinions don't matter. They're just side characters in your story. You're the main character of your own life. Unless you're dead or dying, there's really nothing that can prevent you from achieving anything you want in this world. But you have to believe in yourself to the point of delusion. And if you've reached that point of delusion, but things continue to just not work out, or if life just seems to be getting in the way, or if something just keeps telling you that your goals are going to be too hard to achieve, I want you to remember those wise words from my friend. Life can prove you wrong as many times as it wants, because you only have to be right once. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.